Victor Frankenstein loses himself when his natural ambition abandons Aristotelian moderation. Born into a family of learned individuals from Geneva, he is raised with the example of a civic-minded father who is in public office and has a generous heart. His father leads by example when he exudes sympathy for those less fortunate. This characteristic was lost upon Frankenstein as he fails to act with others in mind, much less society. His obsession destroys his character, brings collateral damage to those around him, and manifests in the creation of a monster that reflects his own moral decay. Frankenstein's supportive milieu permitted him to dedicate multiple years, heart and soul, to modern science. His childhood companion Elizabeth blossomed into a lovely woman who was betrothed to him. He had every comparative advantage to act benevolently, but he became obsessed with the idea of creating life in a twisted way. The irony is that he barely had any understanding on the essence of life, the virtues he should imbue his species with, and their purpose of being. This lack of introspection and hubris made him ill-equipped to withstand the immense responsibility that founding a species would require. Thus, although he succeeds in bringing a creature to life, it treads towards darkness, because Frankenstein is devoid of the values, morals, and principles necessary to guide it. Aristotle teaches us that a life well lived is achieved through eudaimonia, to allow the soul the chance to live virtuously. Virtues are the average between two vices, a concept he calls the golden mean. Frankenstein strays from the golden mean when he stops being able to discern between independence and isolation, ambition and obsession. His motivations no longer derive from virtue, rather from hubris, a sign that he abandons the mean. Frankenstein did not create a new species to solve the moral and ethical issues humanity faces. He created a new species out of the desire to be perceived as great. Greatness was wrongly equated with the founding of a species or mastering anatomy, when it should be living virtuously. In this, Frankenstein gave up the chance to be a great son, a great brother, a great husband, a great citizen. To found his species, he spends the majority of his life away from his family and misses the beauty of lived moments. He sprints towards a goal, wounding his mind and well-being drastically in the process. Thus, Frankenstein loses himself because his ambition is unmoderated and hubris cripples eudaimonia. Uninhibited ambition engenders a lack of boundaries. Unlike his contemporaries, Frankenstein violates the traditional reverence to religion. The concept of being God-fearing completely escapes him as he dabbles with omnipotence. He has no respect for God, and he believes himself thoughtful enough to create life. When God creates, he is accountable and creates an equilibrium. Ironically, when the creature says, "Remember that I am thy creature, I ought to be thy Adam, but I am rather the fallen angel whom thou drivest from joy for no misdeed." The analogy is lost on Frankenstein since he neither had the benevolence nor virtue of a true creator. God's vision is born out of love, whilst Victor's hails from selfishness and greed. He had insatiable wants, and satisfying them pushed him further from virtue. To achieve his goal, the endless cycles of sleep deprivation and constant fevers sabotaged Frankenstein's eudaimonia. Though he spends extended periods delving into books, he is constantly needing the help of those around him to restore him to life. Physically and mentally, Frankenstein lost himself to infuse life into an inanimate body. He convinces himself that the beauty of his dream is worthy of the lack of moderation. He cannot discern how his physical deterioration hinders his cognitive ability. The result of him refusing to accept human limitation is painful for everyone around him, including the creature. Analogous to a child, the creature enters the world impressionable and seeking guidance on how to navigate it. He initially responds to the world with curiosity and benevolence. Its unbecoming appearance engenders society's scorn, while Victor, the one person responsible for guiding him, abandons him entirely. Deprived of love and virtue, the creature gradually becomes as lost as his creator. Had Victor possessed the virtues of patience, responsibility, and compassion, the creature's capacity for goodness may have flourished instead of being corrupted by neglect. Epictetus said, "If your choices are beautiful, so too will you be." Frankenstein's creature became a reflection of his forlorn outlook of the world, poor mental state, and inner decay. How can it be a surprise that someone as lost as him produces something as malevolent as the creature? As many of my peers and I near the chapter of parenting, this is a lesson we can take to heart. Frankenstein reminds us that creating life is easy. It is the responsibility that follows which demands virtue. A parent must cultivate a kind learning environment, normalize failure, and provide a foundation of security so that a child has the opportunity to develop benevolence. Working in education and having had to overcome this hurdle personally, I've seen parents bring children into the world to alleviate loneliness as helping hands or to fulfill their own unmet desires. Yet a child should never be born to satisfy the needs of the parent, but welcome because they will be loved and accepted in whatever form they take. In my own childhood, I had to unlearn the need to appear perfect, the fear of making mistakes, and the burden of filial piety. I often lied to live up to an image created for myself, rather than discovering who I truly was. Frankenstein demonstrates that the moral character of the creator inevitably shapes the life of their creation. His tragedy is not that he created life, but that he lacked the virtues required to be a creator. Being lost, his creature was bound to be as well.